Lainie Kazan. This amazing woman, I tell you, we were trying to get her to come teach for about a year. And finally she said, I would love to come. How's this date? She came, taught a one-night class, afterwards came up to me and said, can I do it again? And I said, of course. Oh my God. So this legend, this amazing, beautiful woman with a heart so big, this actress, singer, teacher, continue to come teach and Meet the Biz. 4-week classes, 8-week classes, ongoing, and then one-night classes throughout the years. She was always so giving. She was always so there for everyone. And this, what you're about to see, is from 2013, I believe, July 2013, filmed at Inclusion Films, Joey Travolta's Inclusion Films. And have fun with this. It's the first one that we actually put together, and we have a few others in the vaults that we need to, make magic. And let me tell you, this is magic. So have fun with this. Have fun with Lainie. She's amazing. Welcome to Meet the Biz with Lainie Kazan.
All right, and sensory work that works for this scene.
But what was your first big break that you consider your first big break?
Well, probably going on for Barbra Streisand and Funny Girl.
Yeah.
I waited 1 year and a half till she got sick.
Okay.
And, I tried to, invite her to dinner, maybe you have a little flu, I'll give you a little flu. But she
Drop something in the drink.
Right. So, no, but it was a very difficult year and a half. And I finally got the call. Oh, and everywhere I went in that year and a half, people would say to me, if you ever go on, call me. So I had a little list, and I would write their name down and their number. And only if they were important, though. And so then I got this call, and they said, you're going on tonight. Barbara is terribly ill with strep throat. So I ran to the theater like a maniac, and I had never been on stage with the real actors.
Right.
I had just worked with the understudies. So they schlepped me from pillar to post, and Sidney Chaplin, who was the leading man, kind of, helped me get to where I was going, and I called everyone on my list. Yeah, I called everybody, and they all showed up.
Oh.
And so did Barbara.
Oh.
And I was devastated. I was so devastated. I mean, I went home that night, and I cried my eyes out. I walked the 5 flights of stairs up to the chorus dressing room. I cried my eyes out. Then I got home, and when I woke up in the morning, it was headlines all over New York papers. Show goes on, but Lainie doesn't. It ain't funny, girl. And I sheepishly came to the theater.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got there, the stage manager and the company manager and the producer were outside. You're going on tonight, but you cannot tell a soul. I said, can I just call my mother? And she had a duplicate list. And everybody came back.
I love that.
It was, to date, I think it was probably the most thrilling theatrical experience of my life.
Wow.
I mean, I remember walking on that stage and looking out into the Winter Garden Theater and thinking, I'm on the Winter Garden stage and I'm going to be doing this part of Fanny Brice. And then my career just skyrocketed. It was amazing. I got a record deal and I started singing all over the world, and things just opened up for me almost a little too quickly.
Right.
I was like,
and then you went on the Dean Martin right after that?
Well, Merv Griffin
okay.
had seen me. When I was an understudy, I would be on his show all the time.
Oh,
And
okay.
he had a local show in New York, and then it went national, or it was syndicated.
Right.
But I was on his show at least like twice a month. And so that was my first initial, and Phyllis Diller put me on her television show, and Gypsy Rose Lee, who we were talking about the other night,
Right.
and all these little shows I did, and then Dean Martin saw me
Right.
and invited me to be on his television show, and I was on like 26 or 27 times, and that's where my career just took
Flourished.
off. Yeah,
Wow. And now,
I adored him.
I could see in the videos, I mean, the way you guys had that connection. And it was just like a river of like, when he held you and...
We had a great sense, he had a great sense of humor,
Right.
and we had a similar sense of humor.
Right.
So that was, it was great. I had 2 nightclubs, but that was at a very dismal time in my life. I had been very sick. I developed blood clots in my lungs from a broken leg, and I wasn't able to work,
Right.
and I was a really sick puppy, and I kind of established myself in a way, but I was working like really the toilets of America.
Yeah.
I mean, I was working these terrible places, and I was trying to just make a buck, and I wasn't able to really do what I do, and I was in a little club in Milwaukee, and someone said, "You remember there's a Playboy Resort in Wisconsin, in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin?" And I had worked there in my heyday, so I called them up and I said, "Could I come and visit you and maybe have a couple of rooms?" They said, "Of course you can come." And subsequently we got together, and I saw the entertainment they had in this phenomenal place, and I thought, well, they had like a group called the Shaggy Gorillas minus one Buffalo Fish. And Playboy's always been synonymous with jazz.
Right.
What you should do is X, Y, and Z. And this gentleman of the hotel said, he was the manager of the hotel, he said to me, "Would you like to go down to Chicago and meet with Mr. Hefner?" I said, "Sure."
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was talking about. He says, "Tell him all your fabulous ideas."
Yeah.
I didn't know what ideas he was talking about, but I just went and I met with Hefner, and I met with a gentleman named Victor Lowndes, who had opened all the clubs with him.
Right.
And I made some suggestions, and they said, "Listen, we have a little club in L.A. It's in the Century City. And just go, we'll rent you a little apartment, and you'll go back to LA, and you'll open your room. You'll take over the room." I said, "Okay, that's fantastic." So I did. I went with my daughter, my boyfriend at the time, my girlfriend and her daughter, and a nanny. And we all lived in one little teeny-weeny apartment. And when I would answer the phone, I'd say, "Hello, Laney's room."
Oh.
And that's how the club came to be.
Right.
And I opened the club in LA, and 2 years later, it was so successful, I opened a club in New York on Fifth Avenue and 59th Street.
Wow.
So I had 2 nightclubs for 4.5 years, and that was probably the greatest joy I had. I gave all these great singers jobs. They were just thrilled to have me as their, kind of entrepreneur boss. And I was a kid. I was like maybe 30.
Wow.
And I was doing that. Yeah, it was really amazing, amazing, amazing. I loved it. I booked Sarah Vaughan.
Oh, my
And all these great,
Amazing.
Bill Evans, a great pianist.
right.
And Earl Father Hines and Eartha Kitt.
Oh, Eartha.
And oh my God, all those singers who were so phenomenal. So phenomenal. It was a great joy for me.
When Laning's on stage, and as some of you have seen her, I mean, you are so in each and every song, and it's its own story.
Yeah, well, I think that singing is acting.
Yeah.
And I think all the great, really great storyteller singers, touch song singers, are really good actors. I mean, Frank Sinatra,
Right.
You know, Lena Horne, Judy Garland, Peggy Lee, all those singers who people really don't know about. And I teach a class at UCLA, and I'm now teaching here for you.
Yes.
And I love it because I can expose the students. I teach acting for the singer. That's really my genre.
Right.
But I do teach acting. I studied with some of the great acting teachers of all time. I studied with Sanford Meisner for 3 years at the Neighborhood Playhouse, and I studied with Lee Strasberg for 5 years, and then became a lifetime member of the Actors Studio. So I use what I've gleaned and what I've learned and try to put it into a form that can be digested by young people.
Right. It's so important to take classes. I mean, so it
Oh.
just seems that a lot of people these days who want to be actors think, oh no, I just can do it.
Or I'm just beautiful.
You know.
I think that, you know, the truth of the matter is, you know, you can be a talented, visionary architect,
Yeah.
but you need some roots. You
Yeah.
need to learn how to be an architect. Well, you have to learn how to be
And
an
you'll feel
actor.
solid when you do it
Exactly,
too.
and you won't lose your technique, and you will be able to use it for many, 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 many years.
My favorite year, Peter O'Toole.
Oh my goodness.
Peter
I have a
O'Toole.
funny story.
Yeah.
Maybe I told you. If I told you, stop me.
No, speak,
Okay.
speak.
Mel Brooks produced My Favorite Year, which is probably one of the funniest movies. If you haven't seen it, I just tell you, please go rent it. It is such a brilliant film. It's a film about John Barrymore, who used to drink quite a bit, and he was on the Show of Shows, which was hosted by Sid Caesar, and it's a brilliant show. And Mel Brooks is the young writer who the show it's about him and this gallant actor, and I play Mel Brooks's mother. And he comes to Brooklyn. He brings his mother he brings this great actor to Brooklyn to meet his mother, and it was incredible script, incredible. I laughed the whole time I read it. So I am now on the set for the first day, and Mel Brooks says to me, "Would you like to meet Mr. O'Toole?" I said, "Oh my God, I would love to meet Mr. O'Toole." So now he knocks on the trailer door, and we hear this muffled sound. He goes, "Yes, come in." So I come in, and here is this little skinny Englishman in his underwear with his head in the sink. He takes his head out of the sink, wraps a towel around it, puts his head up, and he says to me, "Miss Kazan, it is an extreme pleasure to meet you." And he was in his briefs.
DVDs.
Yeah, but he was like he was in a tuxedo. It was so amazing. It was just an amazing.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and he was so gracious to me and so delighted with me that he made me a wonderful actor in that piece,
Right.
because he did it.
Yeah.
And that's what's so important when someone gives you so much as an actor. The other actor gives you so much. You don't even have to act. You can just be, you know. He would look at me with such delight, and I would just, you know.
You fell.
Right.
And then working with Divine.
Oh, hilarious. Hilarious. She said to me, you know, Divine was a crush, what do you call it? A transvestite.
Yeah.
I didn't even know who Divine was when I got the movie. I had no idea. And Tab Hunter had called me at my home.
Right.
Jennifer said to me, my daughter's Jennifer, she said to me, "Mom, Tab Hunter's on the phone." I said, "Tab Hunter?" Now, you have to know, in the 50s and 60s, he was the biggest star that there was. Tab Hunter? So I pick up the phone. "Hello, this is Tab Hunter." I said, "Yeah." He says, I have a movie I'd like to meet you about, and can we have lunch at this restaurant called Butterfields?" And we went, And he gave me the script, and I laughed out loud when I read it. Laughed out loud. And he also gave me a scratch and sniff tape. The scratch card.
Was that a polyester?
Yeah. Oh my God.
right.
So now I'm having the Jewish holidays at my house.
Oh no, you didn't.
I did. And I gave the card, and I told him, pass it around. I didn't know what it was. And so
At the Seder.
at the Seder.
Oh, yeah.
After the Seder.
Oh, okay.
Little by little, my family just kind of wandered out. It was so horrible.
And they weren't matzo balls, scratch
Yeah,
and
it's
sniffs.
right. It was really horrible. And so I said, I don't know if I want to do a movie with this woman. This is, or whatever she is, man, woman. But I did take the film against my agent's blessing because they thought, don't be outrageous. But I did. Because I knew it would appeal to my audience.
Right.
And one night, Divine and I are rolling around on the floor, and we're having this terrible fight,
Right.
a physical fight. And he says to me, hey, watch it, Kazan, because underneath these skirts beats a rod of steel.
Oh my God. My Big Fat Greek Wedding, of course.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, that was a great experience. That was a great experience.
Right.
You know, we all came together to do a reading at Tom Hanks' office,
right.
and they said, you know, if we ever do this piece, we're going to call you.
Yeah.
And it took about a year and a half for them to put it together, and they called me and said, it's a low budget, don't expect much, but we're all going up to Toronto to make this little movie. And the cast came together as a family. We just really got along beautifully. I was the only person on the film that wasn't Greek.
Really?
Everybody else was Greek,
Had
and
some
I
Greek.
worked like a dog to become Greek. And when I went to Greece, once the movie was out, I went to Greece a couple of summers, and people were speaking Greek to me, and I was so, thrilled that
Yeah.
the Greeks thought I was
That's the
Greek.
biggest compliment.
Isn't it? Yeah.
I love
so
that.
I did. It was an amazing thing. And then about a year and some months after the film was made, we got a call from Nia Vardalos, who wrote it and really put the whole cast together. And she said, "Look, Lainey, we have to have a good first weekend. So could you email all the temples and all the Jews,
Right.
and I'll email all the Greek Orthodox churches and the Greeks." And I said, sure. We all got on our phones and we were trying to sell the movie. And the first weekend we made $100 million or something like that, some outrageous amount of money. And it was a huge, unexpected hit, huge. And until today, people say, "Oh, I saw that movie 7-8 times."
Yeah?
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, they pull it out like, yeah.
But I worked with a
DVD.
woman. I went to the Great Greek Restaurant in the Valley, and I asked the maitre d', I said, do you know a woman that I could go to their home and cook with them and learn how they speak and just spend time with them? And this woman became my mentor. She was just a nice little, Greek lady, and I would go over there and she'd make, shashlik and,
Yeah.
and we would talk, and I gave her the script and I said to her, just say the words. She did the whole script for me. And then I took the pronunciation
Right.
and I put life into it.
You
So
sure
it was
did.
interesting.
Yeah.
I had a relationship with Playboy. So I sold them my name, and I sold it to them for a year and a half. And believe it or not, all the clubs closed that next year. It had been kind of archaic to put women in bunny outfits, and I used to say to them, look, you got to get these women out of these outfits. I mean, put the men in rabbit outfits. I was horrified by those outfits. They would bunny dip, and they'd have to have the bunny mother check. It was bizarre.
Wow.
So it was so anti-feminist. It was so against everything I believed in. But I had a great club with great music and great musicians. So I was torn, But I tried. But no, I gave it up. I had it for 4.5 years.
I was wondering that balance, how did you
hard.
do it?
It's hard to find a balance. I know, I had my daughter with me all the time on the road. She'd travel with me. I traveled like a gypsy. I'd take dogs and cats and children, and just to keep my daughter engaged and happy. And, it was hard. It was very, very difficult. And it wasn't a time when women did that. So I was like, alone in that. But we do have to make decisions that are selfish, but that's good selfish. Selfish is good. Selfish not without denying the other person, but to think of number one first. If you don't think of number one first, there is nobody else. We have to take care of ourselves, I believe. And I don't say to the exclusion of everybody else, but first. Like when they tell you to put your air mask on first in the plane, then you can take care of your child.
Another question? Andy?
How do you keep your balance and you have such a calmness about you when
I
you
do?
walk into a room. And it's so nice to be around it, especially in this industry where you're, constantly going or moving. How do you keep your stillness?
I don't take myself too seriously. I've been through lots of stuff, and life has been a rocky road, and I appreciate everyone and everything. There are some people I don't appreciate, but I try to move along. I think I have, not recently, but not in the last year because I've had some physical problems, but I did yoga for 30 years with Bikram. I was very, very athletically involved in yoga. And I'm overweight, but I eat healthily. I don't eat garbage. Very, very rarely. I try.
No fast food?
No, never have been in McDonald's, ever in my life. Never been in a fast food restaurant.
Don't start.
No, never. I eat too much, but I like good food. Clean food. I think that I have to exercise all the time. I have to walk, or I have to, do something that grounds me, and I sing. And when you sing, it's like, it's who you are. It's your voice. Your voice is who you are, and it's a gift that I treasure, and I will never take for granted.
Corey Allen would say at the beginning of each class, he said, what do you want the most at this moment in your life? And it was taking the breath and just that want of the next step.
The next step.
Or this breath. What do you want for this breath?
Exactly. That's fabulous. Wrist straight. Laura Good. I always have hope, and I always feel as though I have to still climb the mountain. I never say I'm at the top of the mountain and I look down. I just always go, oh, I've gotten a little higher on the mountain, and and I never stop trying to learn, be creative, try new things, and I believe that's the answer to life, because if you have hope and you have courage and you have creativity, you have everything. So make choices. Say it again. I know you're good at it. I've seen you. I was really moved. Really. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, no. Aftershave lotion. Just very seductive, my dear. Very seductive. Fantastic. Intention, and you followed it through, and it was funny, and it was scary, and it was good. The same as with JJ, I felt you going to give it to yourself and allow yourself to be.
Yeah, and after all this big spiel he just gave to me about us not having faith in you, what do you think about me?
She is my sister, okay?
But
I had to ask.
Well,
there's
yeah.
also some sort of anger in you. Guys, I had a great night and a great couple of weeks. You are just all fabulous, and you're just inspirational, and you grow and grow and grow, and it's a thrill to be here, and I thank you.
Don't blame your life on master plan.
It's just delicious. You were both delicious.
You decide what to do with your life. You're a fool if you think you're helpless. You control destiny with your mind. Life is a song worth singing. Life is a song worth singing. Life is a song worth singing. Why don't you